Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you, Minister. I disagree entirely with you. I don't think that we can respect the will or the intent of the electorate on the basis of trite snapshots after an election. I think it's particularly telling that those snapshots are quite movable in the event of a by-election from the point of view of the prevailing perspective in government and indeed your own perspective. I think that that's very convenient, frankly. I don't think it adds up. I don't think it's consistent with the overall point that you make. I've been pretty astonished, not just by this. I mean, obviously, the financial supports for Oireachtas members are hugely important, and I can assure you, Minister, when you're thrown out into the cold through no fault of your own for upholding pre-election commitments, that to suddenly find that a party, the might of a political party, can be used in your name for research purposes, for whatever other purposes that party determines to be appropriate, is a pretty stark and a pretty shocking place to find yourself in. So that, I mean, just the David and Goliath factor is one thing, but there's a much more fundamental issue. When I speak to friends of mine from parliaments in other parts of Europe, they find it extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, that we don't actually have equality between members in our parliament, that we have 166 members who are elected to the lower house on a whole range of bases, on the basis of manifestos and pre-election commitments and so on, to represent the people in their constituencies and the people of the country, and that they're treated differently. So some are treated with great privilege, with great support, with great resources, and some are treated as poor relations, frankly. And that applies in terms of the resources. It also applies in terms of speaking rights, in terms of seating rights, in terms of participation in Oireachtas debates, in terms of the right to table private members' legislation, and so on and so forth. It is unheard of in any other parliament that I am aware of across the European Union. It's a really serious issue, and in my view, it's unconstitutional. Not only is that my view, but I have actually sought the opinion of senior counsel, and I will be furnishing that opinion to you, Minister, because it is unacceptable under our constitutional law, not to mention natural justice, which Deputy Matthews has already referred to. It is completely incompatible with our constitutional protections to say that certain members of our Parliament can be treated differently and with less equality and less respect than other members. We are all elected equally, and we should all be supported with the resources of the state, with taxpayers' money, equally. And it is absolutely contemptuous, frankly, Minister, the way that we have been treated as elected representatives of the people in our constituencies and across this country. It is contemptible the way we have been treated, and not us as individuals, but us as representatives of the people who voted for us. And I mean, Minister, you are very well aware of the commitments that were made by the two government parties, by the Labour Party and my own party, Fine Gael, explicitly the Taoiseach, who committed to adopting and to introducing a so-called democratic revolution after the general election. No such revolution has happened at all. And in fact, what we are seeing is a centralisation, a tightening of the grip on power. And I have had, in a national Sunday newspaper, and I said this at second stage, and I will repeat it now, in a national Sunday newspaper, a senior government Cabinet colleague of yours, not from your party, sadly from my own party, threatening that the resources available to my party, of which I'm still a member, will be used to destroy me in my constituency and my colleagues in their constituencies around this republic of ours. Now, as we approach the anniversary of the 1916 Rising, I find that quite disturbing, profoundly anti-democratic and absolutely unconstitutional. And I am very exercised by it, Minister. I think it shows a complete contempt for democracy, a complete contempt for the concept of representation of our citizens, and it is absolutely, and I have no doubt about it, unconstitutional. And if you, Minister, and your government continue to refuse to acknowledge that, then unfortunately we will be left with no alternative other than to go to the courts and vindicate the constitutional rights of the citizens of this country.
Thank you.